We got a major update on Sam Darnold coming in from Adam Schefter on today's show. What's going on, everybody? My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. Pretty much on today's show, we're going to go over what all the top NFL insiders are saying on the latest going on around Sam Darnold. Let's just kick it to what Schefter had to say, saying, I think Matthew Stafford, doesn't wind up with the Raiders. I think Sam Darnold could potentially come into play with the Raiders. I could see that happening, and, he was right. Matthew Stafford did reach an agreement to go back to the Los Angeles Rams. If you guys missed that earlier today, just tweeting out the Rams and Matthew Stafford reached agreement today on a restructured deal that keeps him in Los Angeles. Then he also confirmed his thoughts earlier, saying with Matthew Stafford remaining with the Rams, the Las Vegas Raiders now are expected to investigate veteran quarterback options that include Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, and Sam Darnold. And also the Giants were very interested in a Matthew Stafford trade, and they could potentially have interest in Sam Darnold. So we'll break that down on today's show. But before we dive into it, once the Sam Darnold news breaks here, we will have a video ASAP. I do not care what I'm doing. I could be at a bar. I could be asleep. I don't care where I'm at, what I'm doing. I will have a video for you guys ASAP. Last free agency, I think I did 2 or 3 videos from my car pulling off the side of the highway. So I promise you, no matter what's going on, once this Sam Darnold news breaks, we will have a video for you guys ASAP. So hit that subscribe button, lock us in, don't miss a thing around your Minnesota Vikings. Now, my thoughts on the Sam Darnold situation that's, pretty much breaking over the last couple of hours is it's weird because this is the first time we have gotten any real reports on Sam Darnold. Like, a lot of it has just been kind of like, I'll call it insider talk from a lot of these guys where they're like, hey, yeah, we think the Vikings want to bring back Sam Darnold, but they also love JJ McCarthy. It's going to come down to, if they think JJ McCarthy can put enough weight back on his frame. But we have not gotten any real reports about other teams being interested in Sam Darnold until now. Now we got the Giants. We got the Raiders. We got potentially even the Titans, which we'll talk about being interested in number 14. And also, I think this is a good thing because I will give credit to the Vikings organization. It has been a very, very quiet offseason. Like, none of the top beat reporters for Minnesota have really broken any, bombshell, reports out there, and I think it's a good thing. Like, I understand. I would love to be, coming up here on every single show being like, oh, we got a massive report, talking about this, talking about that. But enjoy this quiet offseason because think about the noisiest teams in the NFL always in the offseason. Take it in our own division, the Chicago Bears. They win the offseason every single year. The New York Giants, the Las Vegas Raiders. These teams, their offseason is their Super Bowl. And with the Vikings, hopefully their Super Bowl is, obviously during the Super Bowl next February. But I think it'll pay dividends during the season. A quiet offseason for the Vikes. Just, even though it's not as entertaining, I still think it's a good thing for the football team. But Jordan Renan, very tapped-in beat reporter for the New York Giants, connected Sam Darnold to them, saying one name that was brought up to me earlier today as a possible option for the Giants, Sam Darnold. They had interest in Darnold last offseason, was way too expensive for what they were looking for. Russell Wilson plus Aaron Rodgers will also be options as Giants look to add a veteran quarterback. So Giants are interested, Raiders are interested. This is what I think is going to happen. I think the Minnesota Vikings will franchise tag Sam Darnold this weekend. Everybody will freak out. All these Vikings fans, all of these, beat reporters will pretty much be saying, oh, Sam Darnold's returning back to the Minnesota Vikings. But I don't think that would be the case. I think he will get tagged this weekend, and then he will be traded to either the Giants, Raiders, or Titans. And my biggest reason for thinking this is, will teams want to roll into the NFL draft without a solid quarterback option in place? Now, the Titans, they could just say, hey, we're going to draft one at pick number 1. The Giants, they're in an interesting spot because what if the Browns and the Titans say, hey, we're not trading back, we're going to take a quarterback there? Then are the Giants going to roll out with Justin Fields, Aaron Rodgers? Obviously if they go get Rodgers, that changes everything, but I still think that's a little unlikely. But also if you're the Raiders, that's why I think Darnold will eventually go to Las Vegas, is because they're sitting there at pick number 6. Are they going to trade up and try to land Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders? I don't think so. And are you going to roll into next season with Aiden O'Connell as your starting quarterback? I have my doubts on that. So I think he will be tagged this weekend and then traded, hopefully a couple days after that. But I also do think the Titans could make a push for Sam Darnold. And I think if, we're going off the reporting, they don't necessarily love any of these quarterbacks. I think they would rather prefer just take Abdul Carter, take Travis Hunter, and maybe they bring in Sam Darnold to kind of stabilize the organization, see what you have in Brian Callahan, see if he could be the head coach of the future. So I think the Titans could have a lot of interest in Sam Darnold because I think either their ideal offseason, just based off the reporting we're hearing, them not loving any of the quarterbacks, is either they take best player at number 1, go bring in a solid quarterback in free agency, or they trade back from pick number 1. The Giants, Raiders, they get desperate, throw you a boatload of picks, and then the Titans would just roll with Sam Darnold as QB1. But I'll ask you guys this. What do you think? Where will Sam Darnold play in 2025? I think it's honestly at this point, I'm going to say 0% with the Minnesota Vikings. I think it's either with the Titans, Raiders, or Giants. But if I had to give you guys my prediction, I'm going to go with the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, before the Raiders really got, all in on the Matthew Stafford sweepstakes, which also a little side note here, I think Stafford and the Rams completely played the Raiders and the Giants. I think Stafford was pretty much just going to them, giving them fake interest just to drive the price up for him returning to the Los Angeles Rams, which was, I think, inevitably going to be what happened. I honestly think he was just taking advantage of them. But I do think Darnold will end up with the Las Vegas Raiders because before the Matthew Stafford news with Las Vegas, it was being heavily reported they were all in on Sam Darnold, or at least have some interest, maybe not all in, but they were interested in the former USC quarterback. You also have that connection with Pete Carroll there. But also, Vikings fans, it's going to be a hectic weekend. And it could be twofold. Like, it could be a hectic weekend in the terms of we get nothing, and then that deadline on Monday is rolling around, I think, about 3 p.m. Central Time when the tag deadline expires. And then if that passed and we get no news on Sam Darnold, that pretty much guarantees he will not be back with the Minnesota Vikings unless he maybe signs a super cheap deal to return to Minnesota, but I think that's unlikely. But this weekend, if it's like a no-news weekend, or it could be, the Giants and Raiders are apparently trying to get a trade done with Sam Darnold. Vikings are tagging him like, guys, please go down there, hit that notification bell. Don't miss a thing because this will be a very, very, very fun weekend for the Minnesota Vikings. And, I think all of this comes down to the faith this Vikings organization has in the man out of Michigan, JJ McCarthy from Chicago, Illinois. This guy, I'm just excited to see him play, man. Really all the reports we're hearing is that he is rehabbing very, very nicely from this torn meniscus. He should be ready to go, once OTAs start. He's back up over 200 pounds. And, seeing what this guy's been doing this offseason, like giving out pizzas and tents to the homeless in the Minneapolis area, using the VR headset, just trying to get any advantage he can have. And also Jaden Daniels was actually showing him a lot of love. He was saying, I expect me and JJ McCarthy to be playing in the NFC Championship game next season. That's awesome. I'm a big believer in him. You guys know this, and, potentially we could have Thor Nystrom on the show. I know you guys know Thor. He does some great work with the Score North podcast, but we're potentially going to have him on, and, he is a huge J.J. McCarthy fan, so I'd love to chop it up with him on number 9. But final kind of take here on Darnold. Listen, I will always remember the Darnold 2024 season. Now, after the Rams lost in the playoffs, I was crashing out. I was saying, this is one of the worst years as a Vikings fan just because it was literally one of the biggest teases ever. Like, you go 14-2, then you lose your next 2 games, and it's pretty much this whole season was, pretty much for nothing with no playoff wins. But then also just thinking back on it, you lost to 2 of the best teams in the National Football League, and that's it. Just the Lions and the Rams. You beat everybody else. So it was truly a memorable season. I will always love Sam Darnold for what he did for the 2024 Minnesota Vikings, specifically during the first 17 weeks of the season. Obviously, Week 18 and the wild card round did not go well, but I also think it would be a crime to bring him back. I just think with where this Vikings organization is set up right now, you are in position to take advantage of J.J. McCarthy on his rookie deal, and that's the way to go. There is no other avenue. There is no other reason or argument you can make to me where bringing Sam Darnold back would make sense unless it's on a 1-year, $10 million deal like he signed last offseason, but Darnold's not doing that. So I can pretty much guarantee it. Sam Darnold will not be back for the Vikings next season. It will be this guy, J.J. McCarthy. So if you guys believe in him, type his jersey number, type those 9s down below in the comments section, and also hit me up on Twitter if you guys haven't already. Tweeting about the Vikes all offseason long. That's the handle. Link for it is in the comments and description of today's show. But we'll see you guys next time. Be ready for a lot of videos this weekend. As always, Skol Vikes.